Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dota 2 Asian Championships 2015. My name is SUNSfan, joined by syndereN. Today, we're on our third game for the wild card. Speed Gaming versus the Wings. The Wings game? I thought it was just Wing Gaming.
The Wings Gaming.
The Wings Gaming.
Interesting. I thought it was also just Wings.
Okay, let's get our disgusting
Have a look
faces
at
off here.
the game. This is
10 seconds
both teams
remaining.
currently 1-1. The current standings have Navi at the top with 2-0, PR at the bottom
Dire
with
team
0-2, and everyone else is 1-1. So pretty important game for both teams to try to get a shot at the top two, which is, of course, everything that matters. Whether you get third or sixth makes no difference whatsoever. You're out if you're not in the top two.
There's pride involved.
Oh, I guess.
You don't want to be sixth. Come on.
What would you rather have, pride or a shot at $2.2 million right now?
You can't live without pride.
That's true.
Radiant team
Also can't
pick.
live without $2.2 million.
That is a good point you bring up. The Wings Gaming start out with the first pick, and they pick Clockwork first pick.
That's
first pick
really
5 times. So that's
interesting.
how weird it is to see Clockwork right there. Ember Spirit, Skywrath Mage going to be the picks for Speed Gaming. Of course, Skywrath Mage is, I would say he's great both with and against Clockwork in general because of those cogs and setting up easy Mystic Flares.
10 seconds
But Clockwork
remaining.
can just get a Blade Mail, finish off Skywrath that way. But
5 seconds remaining.
have you seen Clockworth first pick in a while?
Radiant
like that's
team
No.
ban.
very odd.
I haven't seen that for a very long time. I think Speed picked it in their previous game when they played against Navi, and they did lose, but I think that the Clockwork actually seemed like it played a pretty big role. Perhaps this is
Dire
something
team
new coming up,
ban.
that Clock is starting to get some attention again. I think it's a really good hero. He might get a resurgence because of the way the game is played right now. Power Cox is such an extremely good ability against teams that want to run in and just try to run you over in a fight. It just creates a lot of space. He's generally fairly
Radiant
good against
team
melee
ban.
cores. And of course he has a BKB piercing stun, which is also nice. So there's quite a bit of merit in this hero. Also one of my personal favorites, as a side note. But
Of course, it could be just one person on that team specifically loves Clockwork and they're really good with it, and they know
10
that would not make it
seconds
to the second
remaining.
ban stage. Could be something to that effect as well.
yeah,
But they're going to finish off their
5
first
seconds
phase with
remaining.
Lion.
Yeah, he's been picked a lot more lately. One of the preferred
Reserve
supports,
time.
especially in the Chinese scene, gets picked fairly early. Great counter pick to Ember Spirit. Of course, the instant hex is very nice when he tries to go in. Mana Drain is a good way of removing Lincolns, which shouldn't be relevant just yet, but could be. Ember might choose to build Lincolns in quite a lot of games, but in this one, I guess just because Lion is there, maybe not so interested in picking that up this time. So they ban out Omni Knight. I think we've seen this in multiple games, or well, we've only cast 2 games today, but I think at least one of them, Omni was banned third, and I think one of the other games today as well that we didn't cast, Omni was also banned in that phase. Seems to be the place that he generally gets removed in. Troll didn't get picked, though. That's kind of the big surprise for me.
Does he make it past the second ban stage is the
What's
question.
the question here?
I mean, he doesn't really, not that he needs to synergize directly, but there isn't really anybody
Dire
that
team ban.
fully takes advantage of that ultimate of his. I haven't seen Brood in a long time, and I feel like you won't pick that unless it's the last pick no matter what. I mean, is there ever a case where you just pick it up early on?
10 seconds
I would
remaining.
Which is why I'm
definitely
questioning
not pick
why-
it first phase. In second phase, you can pick it like
5
fourth.
seconds remaining.
But yeah, it's just a hero that's
Reserve
fairly
time.
easy to counterpick, and if it gets counterpicked, it just seems so weak in most games. So I'm surprised they ban it too. I don't know. There might be some intel here when it comes to their previous experience with scrimmage and such, but I don't see why Brood is a good ban so far. We'll see what Wings has planned though. If they already know what kind of supports and what kind of safe lane they want, and Brood is extremely good against that, then I guess it makes sense to remove it now.
Yeah, could be that. Exactly. So Speed Gaming, you said they're 1-1? Or both teams are 1-1?
Yep.
With
Radiant team pick.
I mean, this will be. Let's see. I mean, depending on do you know how tiebreakers go?
If
Exactly.
it's
Like it's head to head.
head to head, if it's
there's
two-way tie.
tiebreakers past that, like
If
what
it's a
happens?
three-way tie, they play again.
And is it infinite?
That's what we don't know.
So we still haven't found that out. Then.
No.
Okay.
I think the chance, because if there's a tiebreaker for anything else than second or first, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So the chance that we get a tiebreaker for
10
either is, of course,
remaining.
there, but I don't think there's a big chance of a tiebreaker for first, and I think there's a small one for second, but
Dire
we'll see.
team pick.
Okay.
there already seems to be some sort of a tiering of teams after the first 2 rounds, I would say, based on how they've played. But
Well, so far from this draft, I would say the Wings Gaming will have no issue with initiation, especially if Lion picks up a Blink Dagger. That is some ridiculous initiation for both Clockwork Earthshaker and, of course, like we talked about, Lion. But Witch Doctor, that's a really good pick against Clockwork as well. I mean, it has
10 seconds remaining.
especially if there's multiple people in the cogs, but well, I guess you wouldn't really
5
have multiple
seconds
people in the cogs if
remaining.
you're the Wings Gaming.
if you're grieving,
Well, he could. You never know. If
Reserve
you're picking up an
time.
Aghanims, hook shot to your teammate repeatedly, it's possible.
and then
But-
cog them in.
But honestly, Clockwork, I feel like might have some trouble this game until he picks up like that Blade Mail, because Maledict is going to be super easy to cast in that cogs when he's in there, and generally speaking, with the cogs, like Death Ward will be. I mean, that's pretty easy placement as well because of the zoning capabilities that cogs have. It's going to separate, in all likelihood, both teams.
It kind of goes both ways, though, because in the mid game, he's extremely good against Witch Doctor, catching him out, preventing the Death Ward from doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
He can do the same to Skywrath, but of course needs to be careful with taking the whole Mystic Flare. Oh, interesting. But like you said,
Radiant
Blade Mail
team pick.
will make quick work of Skywrath in that case, or he could get a BKB, and then you're just looking at a Speed Gaming team that actually can't deal with the Clockwork at all. They can't kill him. Spirit Breaker solves that somewhat if he gets farm, which generally is not the case. More of a space creator and just being annoying around the map and forcing fights, which I like the idea of playing Spirit Breaker together with Ember and Skywrath. Those are 2 heroes that can really use the
10
charge
seconds
setup and
remaining.
aren't afraid of fighting 10 minutes into the game and just really taking
Well,
clashes.
in general,
all the time.
their
5
gank
seconds
potential
remaining.
is insane right now. I mean, let's just assume Ember Spirit's going to be safe laning or mid lane, just farming away.
Reserve time.
And of course, like you said, he could be pretty aggressive overall since he can initiate from range. But Skywrath, Witch Doctor, amazing roamers, and Spirit Breaker, arguably the most game-breaking roamer in the game, if you can do it correctly, as far as not giving vision away and all that good stuff, and being able to cast charge. God, that spell, man. Fog of War is just not Spirit Breaker's friend right now.
It's like Spirit Breaker is good for their team, but it's not good against the enemy team. This is a difficult Spirit Breaker game.
That's a good point.
There's cogs, there's fissure, there's hex. Getting a charge in is actually going to even be difficult, I think, just getting in. As they're now
just go
going to grab
stats then.
the
Stats
Razor.
Fire
Nether
team
Strike.
ban.
Yep. No point in Greater Bash, so your Nether Strike doesn't even bash them. You just
I
teleport
forgot
behind
about
them.
that. That is such a weird. Is there another ultimate in the game that is literally useless?
It
If
does
another s-
damage, and you teleport,
Well,
but you don't
okay,
bash.
it's not
10
literally useless, but
seconds
basically
remaining.
useless. Alright, Razor.
5 seconds remaining.
I don't think there is another one. Not that I can just think of, at least. There might be one. Yep, they're going to grab Razor.
Radiant
Good hero
team
against Spirit
ban.
Breaker in his own right. Just when Spirit Breaker charges in, if you get to start the link before that, he's going to lose all of his damage potential very fast. Same goes for Ember Spirit when he jumps in, but can, of course, very easily jump out again. But then he has to use Remnants for that, which is kind of nice to force. And worth
10
noting,
seconds remaining.
Static Link shouldn't stop during Sleight of Fist. So you can't disjoin it with that either. Spectre.
Radiant
They have some
team
global
pick.
potential now, and Anti-Mage is going to be the last pick for the Wings.
That was very fast.
Yeah, they really wanted that Anti-Mage against the Spectre. How do you see that matchup late game go? I mean, Spectre probably carries a little bit harder into the extreme late game, but
Yeah.
Anti-Mage gets online way faster.
Yeah, so if Anti-Mage has a good game and he gets a fast Battle Fury and then into Manta style, he just destroys Spectre all the time. He completely kills her off. And Spectre can't really deal with that. Even if both have free farm, Anti-Mage will destroy Spectre from minute, like,
Prepare
let's say,
for
20 to
battle.
30. Then if Spectre keeps getting farm beyond that, she'll eventually get so strong that she can fight him head on, because just Desolate and Dispersion are extremely good scaling even into the super late game. Of course, Dispersion being percentage based will always be that good, and then it's a 22% damage reduction if the target's melee, which Anti-Mage is, so he has to hit a lot of times to bring her down. So I will definitely favor speed gaming should this go very late. Having both Spectre and Ember Spirit in the late game, and the enemy team only has an AM and arguably somewhat carry Razor, that's going to be scary. But in the mid game, Wings have a really solid lineup. They have everything they need. They can create a lot of space for the AM to shine in the later portion of the mid game, and then perhaps take the game that way.
Now let's go to the lineup. So, for Wings,
30 seconds to battle.
we have Han playing the Clockwork
The
in the
Wings.
off lane. The Wings Gaming. We have Blink. Man, saying his name, if he had like a Blink Dagger, this would just be... I'd just quit, I think.
Blink squared.
Playing the Razor here. In bot lane. Anti-Mage is going to be played by Dengdu.
Dengdu.
You know JDH? I do know him, actually. He's playing Lion, who's going to be picking up that bounty rune uncontested. And last but not least, ZP.
The battle
That might even be
begins.
like a sponsorship. I don't even know. That might not be his name. He's been playing the Earthshaker either way.
And for Team Speed Gaming, we've got Melody Lovers playing as Witch Doctor together with Piao on the Spectre in the top lane. Middle lane's going to be YFTX. For some reason, that makes me think of YMCA when you say that. YFTX. And Xiao Yu as Ember Spirit in the mid lane. And finally, bottom lane is going to be Iwi.
And that's going to be the lane that I really am interested in as far as how many levels he's going to get out of that versus the Lion and Anti-Mage. He's not going to have a whole lot of mana, especially if Mana Drain is leveled for Lion, which actually he got level 1 Impale. I guess just for harassment damage more than anything else. Typically, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, level 1 Hex is normally the pickup, but I guess that's more for, I mean, he's not looking to get a kill right off the bat, more for damage.
Yeah, the Earth Spike costs 100 mana, and Hex costs 125. So if it's just Lion himself hitting the Spirit Breaker, he will get more damage per mana out of Earth Spike, but Spirit Breaker can fight back. So then it's a question of which of those you value the highest. I think he could skill Hex now, which he will do, because they actually do have kill potential. This is scary for Iwi. If that was an Earth Spike there, they might have been able to even kill him, but we'll be living this time around. There's the Earth Spike coming out. This is a little bit too late, I think. The boots and Spirit Breaker will make him easily create space, or create a gap between himself and the team.
That's actually a little mechanic that, surprisingly, a lot of players don't know about. The fact that when you get Hex, it's not a base, well, it is kind of a base movement speed, but any movement speed you have in your items gets applied to the Hex itself. I think it's, what did they change? It was actually the sheep stick itself they changed, but is it 100? Okay.
Can't believe you missed that.
You did too. That's not fair.
What's
the base movement speed for Hex? Is it 100?
Yes.
Plus any movement speed on top of that?
It's 100.
Invisible can be picked up by the Skywrath Mage. So Clockwork was killed by Spectre, Witch Doctor, not the most fearsome lane of all, I would say, especially when you have cogs to work with. But of course, well, Spectral Dagger, he's going to get pushed back by the cogs every single time. So
Yeah,
that's weird.
It's not the... Yeah, it's a little bit surprising Clockwork dies in this lane, to be honest. I think this is one of the easier lanes he can have. Witch Doctor is a very strong lane support, but apart from that, Spectre, like you said, doesn't really provide too much against the Clockwork. So I think...
They're going to go for it again.
I guess the most important thing for him was that Spectre didn't get the first blood. This is one of the heroes in the game you don't want to get first blood because she's very farm dependent and scales extremely well if she gets a good early game. It just...
He's going for it. He has a Sentry Ward here, of course. In the end, it just ends up being a waste of mana.
Surprised he didn't cog then.
Bottom lane, Impale, into a Hex, into the right clicks of Anti-Mage. Is this going to be enough to get the kill? Doesn't look like it. He's going to actually go for it down into the tower. One more right click will do it. He's going to get it. So second blood going the way.
Oh, he's going to...
No, he's good. He's good, bro. One more hit would have done it, but no, not going to happen. Oh, wow, I have Frontless now. My apologies. That's odd. Done. Zoe. I think. It's actually frozen. Okay, good.
Excellent.
It's literally frozen right now. I don't know how that works, but go ahead. Take it over, Cinder, while I fix this.
Yeah, so... curious to see how this mid lane works out, because I think this is a lane that Razor should dominate. Like, there's nothing Ember Spirit can really do, apart from when he has Flame Guard up, he can get some CS with that, but Ember's winning this lane. That's very surprising. I would just, like, Razor, just use Static Link, run in on him, keep chasing him down until he's completely out of damage, and farm the wave. But Ember has been allowed to get 14 CS now, and even if Razor starts playing better now and making use of that Static Link, just the fact that Ember has got this is enough for him to get the bottle. It's enough for him to get boots as well, I think. Yep, there they are. And he's going to get the rune, which is a bounty rune, so he's going to keep lead in mid. This is very important, because this is a lane that, in my opinion, Wings should be winning, and Ember is one of those heroes who does so well in that... One of the weaknesses of him... Okay,
Static Link.
He is very good.
Hex, Impale, everything used. Of course, there is the haste applied to Lion himself, and that's going to be a very easy kill. Charge is coming. Pretty sure he's not going to go all the way in. Just using it to get some free XP mid, in all likelihood. Nope. He'll cancel it, actually, and go back in shame to that bottom lane.
That's like the worst thing when you play Spirit Breakers, when you charge half the map and you just give up. It's like a whole walk of shame through the river all the way back to
It's a different kind of walk of shame, absolutely. He's level 5, though. He's getting really good levels overall. You compare that to the Clockwork, who's now level 4.5. So definitely winning in that department. And Earthshaker's transitioning himself towards this bottom lane, attempting to get a gank. But of course, there is this ward showing him off. Actually, that's not for the Dire. So he actually has absolutely no idea this is happening.
He's
A beautiful fissure
Oh, never
blocking
mind, he
him
lost
out.
his mana.
He has 4 tangos. He can eat his way through if he really needs to, but this is going to be way too much damage to speak of, and Earthshaker's going to meet him on the other end. He's going to give the kill to the anti-mage. In the meantime, Razor dies in mid lane. Trades his life with Ember Spirit, it seems.
Yeah, that's a good trade. He got the kill first, and then he died to Witch Doctor. So that is definitely worth it for the Razor. I think he's pretty much back in charge of that mid lane now, level 6 against the Ember, who's level 5 and 200 experience. And I think the most important thing for Wings so far was that they managed to stop the Ember. Spectre is getting free farm, which they can't really deal with unless they rotate 2 of their supports top, I would say. But they're trading that for free farm on the AM, which is a very classic matchup where both of them get free farm. And the outcome of the
TI1. God help me.
Actually, it's very true. But the outcome of those games is not predictable. Both of those heroes, it really depends on the mid-game execution of the team, and that's where Ember would have played a huge role for speed gaming. But with 2 deaths, he has been delayed quite a bit.
Witch Doctor going to steal the rune in front of Clockwork. He's actually higher level than Clockwork himself, which is not something you would come to expect on a regular basis in Dota. Spearbreaker's still level 5.5, looking for his first gank, but pretty sure he's going to need that Nether Strike first, which I've talked about at length, which I think is one of the most underwhelming ults in the game, but he needs it to be able to get kills. That's the one thing to keep note of course. You could say the same thing about Clockwork and his ult, obviously. But 41 and 10 versus the 40 and 19, so it's pretty much a wash overall as far as gold goes. But of course, Spectre did get... Actually, no, there's 1 kill going each way, so it's pretty much dead even in that department as far as carries are concerned.
I want to say AM should probably have a little bit of a lead, which he does.
Did
He's 200
Did
ahead.
he get the... Actually, yeah, he got the last
He's
hit.
got 1
himself,
last hit
yeah.
and 1 assist, and
Okay.
Spectre only has an assist. So, slight difference, not really too big of a deal. It's way more important now what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes for the supports, I think, and the cores. Well, okay, so the heroes, but...
The hero.
When Clockwork hits level 6 and Spirit Breaker hits level 6, stuff is going to happen, because then they can start setting up kills on their own. The Razor is very easy to gank for in the mid. They're probably going to need 1 more hero together with Clock to stop the Ember, but it's a very easy initiation into maybe a Hex or a Fissure. And likewise for speed gaming, when they have that charged Nether Strike combination, it's very easy for them to kill, for example, the top lane, maybe even the AM with some sort of rotation, or that Razor. What are we looking at for the supports? Lion's level 5, Shaker's level 3.
Mid lane.
And yeah, that Razor is
Searing Chains.
very,
Razor on the
very
wrong side of the river. Even the Fire Remnants are used to help finish off this Razor. He's barely going to go down, actually, because the TP support is here. Lion going to be initiated on by the Spirit. Beautiful Fissure on top of that, though. Not going to prevent the kill, however, because the Death Ward has infinite range, apparently. So 2 kills for Speed Gaming. One thing I wanted to note is that I really do like Spectre's build, because he knows that these heroes are going to start getting active once they hit level 6. He's going to go for drums on top of the phase boots. He's going to have a little bit of tankiness instead of going for that rush of Radiance, which he might have been able to get away with because of the free farm, but like I said, in all likelihood going to be a lot more active now.
And it shouldn't be underestimated how fast Spectre can actually kill AM. So the way AM usually survives early mid-game fights is by virtue of having the spell resistance, but Desolate is pure damage, and so is the reflection from Dispersion. So if she gets into a one-on-one fight with Anti-Mage is going to hit a little bit hard in the start when he burns the mana, but after that, Spectre is going to hit him for like 2.5 times as much as he hits her for. So it's a very interesting matchup, especially when Spectre also gets a Manta style so that the illusions get the Desolate effect. Then AM is going to lose the fight unless he has a BKB should they face one-on-one.
And that's not an item you really want to get on Anti-Mage in general. That's like 1 slot missing for damage that you could be having. In
Some games you need to get it. I
guess it would be a replacement for a heart in that case.
Yeah, mostly you choose it instead of heart. In this game, I don't think he actually necessarily needs the BKB. It's good against Spectre, like I said, and it's pretty good against the Silence of Skywrath, but he might want to just get the Manta to break out of Searing Chains or the Silence and then tank up the other one, and then get heart into a Butterfly.
We're going to have a big fight here.
Let's see.
Speed Gaming smokes up. They're going to find Clockwork, but they have an initiation. Cass is going to bounce back and forth. They're going to find the Earthshaker and blow him up. Death Ward is used, and here comes the counter initiation from Clockwork. I think he regrets that decision. He gets blown up. A Mana Boy doing a lot of damage to that Witch Doctor, so it's going to be a 2-for-1 for now as Anti-Mage can continue the pressure upon the Skywrath Mage, who uses Ancient Seal to prevent any blinking from Anti-Mage, but it's going to be hard to get away. Nice juking. It's going to take 2 or 3 more right clicks to kill him off. 1 more should do it. With those treads, Skywrath is really fast for support, keep in mind, so he might be able to get away, but there's a blink. And there we go. Oh, he actually hits the illusion from the Haunt! And here comes Spectre. We're talking about how he can kill the Anti-Mage. We'll see if this comes to effect, and it does. And Skywrath Mage lives to see another day.
That's the hugest exchange of a 1-for-1 you can get here. Spectre getting the kill on Anti-Mage is the best thing that speed gaming can have happen. He's on the sidelines for 30 seconds. Spectre gets the kill and immediately transitions into free farming the bot lane afterwards. This is pretty huge. Until then, Wings got an okay fight. They did lose, I think it was 2-for-1 until Anti-Mage started chasing the Skywrath, so that would have been a 2-for-2, and in all fairness, it probably also should have. I think he messed up a little bit there on the kill and ends up paying a price.
He A-clicked the ground instead of the hero
attack.
itself, and it hit the illusion. That was... I can't remember the last time I've seen something like that happen. Spectre's just going to continue to show his prowess in this bottom lane. Let's see if we have a completed charge. Nether Strike's going to be up, so they can actually go for this. Perhaps force a blink out.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Of course,
under
Nether
attack.
Strike is also affected heavily by fog, which is really annoying if you're a Spirit Breaker player. And here we go, Charge of Darkness. Oh, he's going to blink first! This might be a mistake, but there's a bunch of TPs coming to his aid. Witch Doctor's going to pop his ult. Nether Strike on top of it. Is enough damage to take him out? He gets a bash, and it is down he goes. Han on this Clockwork gets Mystic Flare at half HP, completely silenced. Doesn't have a hook shot to work with. Fissure coming out as well. Cogs being used defensively as a zoning capability. Speed Gaming might be on the run, but the Impale from Lion completely whiffs. Spirit Breaker might try to sacrifice himself. He's going to charge across the entire map. He's going to live to see another day as well. They're getting away with murder. This is insane.
Yeah, that was... I don't think Speed Gaming should have gone away with that. They should have easily lost 1 or 2 heroes there, but a little bit of a misplay and mistiming, and Lion missing that Earth Spike also very important for Speed Gaming to get away with that. And I don't know. I think, they're only 3,000 gold ahead, Speed Gaming, so it's not the end of the world for Wings, but just the way the farm is distributed, it's starting to look scary for Wings with this AM dying twice. This Battle Fury, this is around the time when, if you're going treads into BF, this is when you want to have the Battle Fury. He's currently about 1,500 gold short, or actually even more. He's 2,000 gold short. So it's going to take him a long time to get that Battle Fury. If he gets completely free farm now, he might have it at like 16 together with the treads. And should he die again, we could be looking at 20. And then what we talked about before the game started with AM and Spectre free farming, and when AM beats Spectre, those timings are just going to be... They're going to be pushed, basically. And maybe AM will never take over.
Here comes the charge from across the map. As long as they can get the Ancient Seal, there we go, into a concussive shot. Here comes Spectre again, trying to do as much damage as possible before the Spirit Breaker comes. Of course, they can see him, and he's going to go down again. That is the third death in a very short amount of time. And the smoke, not going to come into any effect here for Wings.
I would love to see Spectre get a Yasha now into Manta style. I think it's the best pickup. Over time, I've come to like Radiance on Spectre less and less. He might still, because he can get it this early. Like, this game is going so well that he could potentially just go for a Radiance now and still get it sub 20 with Phase and Drums. But it's just, if he were to go for a Manta style now, if he does not get controlled in the fights, he will destroy everyone with triple Desolate damage with those Manta Illusions. It's a very powerful pickup. Radiance is more built around farming and doing a lot of damage over time, whereas Manta is more burst. And of course,
it
I
also
guess
helps
can't
you
really
farm a lot, though, and that's...
Yeah, the Yasha is
makes it
pretty
more
good for that, too,
consistent.
though. It's not that bad.
It's not quite as good. Come on.
No, definitely not. But not the
Dire's
worst
middle
trade-off.
tower
However, the
is
Manta
under
style
attack.
effect, he doesn't really have anything he can break out of. That's the downside. There's nothing really valuable to Manta dodge. So, with that in mind, he might go for the Radiance. If there was some sort of big silence...
Fissure's going to find Witch Doctor. It's on the wrong side, though. Static Link is here as well. Lots of damage for Razor. Is this going to be enough to take him out? Here comes the counter initiation. The Finger of Death finishes him off. It's going to be a trade of sorts as Razor drops to the deck. Void, or Mana Void, I should say, finishes off the Skywrath Mage as well. And now the chase continues. Charge of Darkness on the way. Who are they going to apply the pressure to? Searing Chains upon Anti-Mage. They're going to split their pressure, actually. They take out the Lion with ease. And it seems that's going to break things up. It's a 2-for-2 at the moment. Earthshaker, man, level 5. This is hurting him so bad.
Yeah, he has Arcanes and 50 gold, which he's probably going to go for. That means the Blink Dagger is
Well, even with
30
that,
minutes.
like Haunt is the most annoying spell for any Blink Dagger initiation heroes, especially when if there ends up being a Radiance on top of that.
AM.
He's silenced. He doesn't even have enough mana to blink anyway. Here comes the charge. Does he have another strike on top of this? He does. That is a dead anti-mage yet again. And Razor TP's into the wrong place at the wrong time, but Impale is there to help save him, along with Fissure. Do they have enough to finish anybody off, though? Spirit Breaker's going to sacrifice his life for the betterment of his team. Spectre is here as well. He gets the kill on Clockwork.
Gets stuck.
He gets stuck in the trees. They're going to pause the game so that they don't know.
They're going to pause and be like,
He's not
Spectre's
there.
like, I can't move. Pause, please. I can't. He could just TP out. This should be a Radiance now. I mean, he just got another solo kill. This Spectre is 6-0, which is like unheard of in a 15-minute game. Highest on the farm, 6 kills, no deaths, 3 assists even. I think with that in mind, the Radiance is now the better choice because he got another 2 solo kills since last we talked about it. He got the kill on the AM, and then he got the solo kill on the clock. So this Spectre is out of control. And if Wings don't do something about him now, they will be losing this game at 30 minutes. Like, if he gets a fast Radiance, and you look at these starved supports on the Radiant side, I mean, Haunt itself is almost going to kill Lion.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't reality into it. If he realities and uses a dagger, it's probably a kill.
A Hex
Shaker will
mana
never
drain,
blink.
Does that destroy the Haunt illusions as well?
Yes.
Or just normal illusions?
It should. So he needs to jaunt fast. Hex does. Yeah, well, Mana Drain does too. It's just regular illusions. So he needs to jaunt fast, of course, but then the line is just going to be dead very easily. And that's not even considering the farming rate and the fact that AM has died 4 times as well, and this Battle Fury is, at this rate, isn't even going to be happening. I think he hasn't really earned gold in the last 5 minutes.
That's what it feels like. I mean, but this is exactly. I mean, gotta credit Speed Gaming. They're continuing to keep the pressure on with the likes of the Ancient Seal, Skywrath Mage, and of course Charge of Darkness, always giving him vision. That's probably the biggest deal. We haven't really seen the Charge actually connect that often. It's more the vision it gives is invaluable for an anti-mage just blinking into the trees.
Yeah, they're going to keep doing the same thing until Wings stop them from doing it. I don't see why they should change their strategy. Just keep charging the AM and kill him all the time.
Radiant's bottom
Constant
tower
ganks on
has
him.
fallen.
One creep away
Radiant's
from all
top
the 6. He
tower
really
is under
wants
attack.
it badly. That poor guy. 3,900 gold on Spectre. Expect the Sacred Relic to come very shortly.
He is coming
Probably
there
right now. He's making the visit to the beautiful secret shop. What is this guy's name? Does he have a name? The secret shop guy? He has to have a name. I don't know what it is, though.
Gaben.
They're all named Gavin. They just happen to have the same name for all the store owners, shopkeepers. All right, Spectre has a Sacred Relic. He'll be getting the Bounty Rune as well, just to add insult to injury. If you're Wings, you just have to become ultra aggressive, or
You have to
try to
gank
wait
the
for this
Spectre.
anti-mage to get Battle Fury. But
The
even
problem is
then,
he can't farm, right? You see, this is where AM would want to go and farm that top wave and just blink out. But he doesn't. When he doesn't, now he sees Spirit Breaker mid, so now he's going to go for it. But when Spirit Breaker is off the map, it's very difficult for AM to farm. It's one of the classic public game counters, as a matter of fact. When there was a phase when AM was picked a lot, and Spirit Breaker was one of the good ways of dealing with him because you just can't farm the way you want. So with Spirit Breaker off the map, AM can't free farm. They need to gank the Spectre. Like, he cannot be farming where he is right now. Look at him. He's halfway up the bottom lane on the Radiant side, farming next to the tier 2. That needs to trigger a gank. They need to see it coming, and they need to be there before it happens. And now they're going their reactionary, and then he's gone. So this smoke is kind of wasted unless they find an opening.
Their best bet against him is the Lion. And
Yes.
the problem is he doesn't have a
Structures
Blink
are
Dagger. Obviously,
fortified.
everybody's under farm for their team.
Radiant's middle
But that Blink
tower
Dagger
is
would make
under
a huge...
attack.
I think it would make a bigger difference on Lion than it would Earthshaker for that
I agree
specific
with that.
reason.
Yep.
Looks
But they can
like
still
they're gonna
fissure
try
into
for it.
Impale. They're going to do that right now.
The
This
smoke.
is the highest value
Tail
kill.
is here. X to follow. Echo Slam on top of the Enchant Totem. And yes, down he goes to the Lion. Finger of Death, even though I didn't see any animation. But here comes the counter initiation. A nice fissure. Going to block off the Spirit Breaker. But there's the Nether Strike, finishing off the Earthshaker as well. And Impale doing a little bit extra damage. So they'll walk away for a 1-for-1. And obviously that is definitely in favor of Wings, who desperately needed that kill.
Yeah, and it's
Opens
not
up some
only
farm
killing
for
the Spectre,
anti-mage.
but exactly. They tried to go there with Spirit Breaker. This means Dengdu gets to farm 2 waves mid. He can go into the jungle afterwards, and that's pretty much his battle period. So he needs 350. Oh, if he gets ganked
charged.
now, that's really unfortunate. If this gank is successful, that's huge, but I don't think he's
I
going
don't
to
know how
carry
they
through
do
the
it.
charge.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Spectre is going to live in a moment with Haunt ready.
Dire's
But he is
bottom
going to cancel
tower
that.
is under
They needed a
attack.
full.
I mean, the problem for Wings Gaming at the end of the day is there's 2 heroes on the opposing team that when you start the snowball, they're ridiculously hard to stop. And that's both Ember Spirit and the Spectre.
Radiant's
I mean,
middle
Ember
tower
Spirit
is
initiates
under
from so
attack.
far away. Spectre can initiate from across the map, literally. Extremely hard to contain these heroes.
Yeah, Spectre is farming in the bot lane.
There we go. Battle Fury complete. On its
Alone
way.
once again. If she
Radiant's
gets
middle
killed
tower
again,
is under
this
attack.
is the path to a comeback for Wings, and she might. Oh, they layer the stuns though. This is a pretty big deal.
We'll see if it ends up mattering. Enchant him at the last second. Is this going to be enough? The wand is going to keep him alive, at least for now. And off he runs. So you're right.
Oh,
the
that
layering
charge
of
is going to
guns,
stop the TP of Razor completely randomly.
The side charge from Spirit Breaker. They're going to take out the line with no problem at all. Fissurious going to completely isolate this Razor, and a Greater Bash is going to help finish him off. So it's a 3-for-0 exchange, which what should have been a kill. Make it even more, a 4-for-0. Should have been a kill on Spectre, but in the end, he got away. But you're right, the layering of stuns, I think that would have been enough to take him out. But the Fissure
sure,
and the
yeah.
Impale were simultaneous.
I think it was even the Fissure and the Hex. I don't know if that actually does make
maybe it
much of a
was.
difference, but it's still just that duration. They basically wasted the Hex duration. So Hex did nothing, right? He was stunned anyway. So if they had that Hex after the Fissure Earth Spike, that would have been a kill, and instead they lose 4. So this is... That could not have gone any worse for Wings, actually, unless AM would have died to the mid tower. That's...
Or to the Ancients. Oh. He's going to wait. I mean, he does have the Battle Fury, so this will obviously exponentially grow his farm.
Radiant structures
Again,
are fortified.
the problems remain the same. And that is not only the late game of Ember Spirit Spectre, but the gank potential has been... And that's a lot of times we see things in the draft where like, oh, they have good gank potential, but they don't really come to fruition a lot of the time, right? Because the opposing team can
Radiant's
see it
top
coming.
tower is
They
under
do
attack.
whatever they can to counteract, but this has been beautifully played by Speed Gaming. It's
This
just
is
been a
a dead
charge.
Shaker.
Shaker. I mean, there's nothing you can do, bro. Down you go. Sorry. He's working towards his Blink Dagger, but he's a long ways off.
Yeah, at this rate, that Blink Dagger is probably 30 plus. Here's
But look at
Dire's
Lion. Lion's
middle
getting
tower
closer, and
is
this is
under
huge.
attack.
This would be really big for them.
Dire's
I mean, they've
structures are
almost
fortified.
successfully killed Spectre twice, and that's without a Blink Dagger. Here's the Hex into a TP.
Oh, that was the only play he had.
Yeah.
Dagger gonna follow.
Dire's
He's charged
top
too. This
tower
could be
is under
another
attack.
kill. There is Nether Strike. They're gonna keep diving this, I think.
Yeah, I think they go.
Razor is there.
Hit. Blade Mail popped by Spirit Breaker. Razor's going to take away all his damage, and Anthony just blinks away. He gets chased though by Spectre thanks to that haunt. Easy defense. There's a Death Ward. It's going to do a lot of damage to Spectre, who's
They're on
on
the
his
same
team. Whatever. Okay, Spirit Breaker goes down. In the meantime, Earthshaker gets a nice enchant totem, but he's such a low level, he can't stay in these fights. And Lion, wrong place, wrong time, good sir. It's going to be a complete team wipe in favor of Speed Gaming. All they lost was a Spirit Breaker. Started off as a decent fight, honestly, for Wings, but
Radiant's
levels
top
are not in
tower
their
is
favor.
under attack.
They're just not getting to play the
Radiant's
Anti-Mage right
top
now.
tower
He
has
is
fallen.
having such a difficult game. He's died
Radiant's middle
5
tower
times
is
now,
under
21
attack.
minutes in, against a team that, to be honest, isn't extremely good against him. It's not like they've built their lineup to counter the AM. He was the overall last pick of the game.
Radiant's top tower
And
is under attack.
the only really good tools they have against AM are Charge, Nether Strike,
Ancient Seal.
Ancient Seal, and Searing Chains, but they don't even need all of them to be there because he doesn't have any farm. If he had a Manta style now, it would be so much harder to kill him because then he could break out of either the Chains or the Silence. But he's going to go for the Vlads first. I think this is extremely greedy and not the right choice. It almost looks... I generally call this, when I talk about that, I call it autopilot. It's where you just always build the same items instead of analyzing the situation in the game. I definitely don't agree with the Vlad's pickup here. I think it's an autopilot build rather than a smart one.
Razor static linking Ember Spirit, who brought him down to half health, working towards a BKB of his own. The recipe away, about 1,000 gold. And looks like that's going to be the end of that. But Battle Fury now on Ember Spirit, who uses his Fire Spears to get back into the pit.
It was pretty cool how he got the Battle Fury.
Is under attack.
He flew through the Courier.
Oh, really?
He flew all the way from the bottom lane into the Roche pit, and the Courier was right between him and Roche, so he crossed through it. Pretty nice detail.
Medallion of Courage picked up on the Witch Doctor. Have you seen this used offensively, or not offensively, defensively on a hero yet?
In general, in this game.
Just in general.
Yes.
Does it have the same, like, what does the effect look like?
It's the same sound, and then the effect looks like You see the broken shield over Witch Doctor?
Yeah.
It's that shield, just not lit.
Roshan
And a little
has
brighter, I
fallen
think,
to
as
the
well.
dire.
The target.
Ember Spirit's going to be the choice for the Aegis. And right now, Speed Gaming, obviously with the big lead in this game, Anti-Mage is a hero that can bounce back pretty nicely, but the problem is the late game. Like, if you get to that point, how do you go against an Ember Spirit Spectre that are both super duper farmed? Spectre right now, of course, has the Radiance going towards a Heart of her own. And we talked about Ember Spirit's Battle Fear, which is only going to help his farm in the future.
I don't think there's an item build for AM that's going to win this game. It has to come from the supports making some moves now. AM cannot outcarry these two heroes late game. So they can't just play for that. And if AM had extremely good farm, and he was, let's say you free farm AM and you free farm Spectre and you have decent farm in Ember, AM can actually beat that. There's like a time frame in the game where if he just doesn't get stopped, he would own them at like minute 25 to 35. But since that hasn't happened, now it doesn't matter.
Ancient Seal applied to Anti-Mage, but they might blow up Skyreth Mage before he can do anything else. Almost goes down to the ultimate from Razor as he runs away now from the Ember Spirit and Spirit Breaker. A double kill for Spectre in the meantime. And he's just going to find more easy kills coming. That's another team wipe for Speed Gaming. And this is just looking to be a stomp. And I don't see any way back for Wings. And all likely going to take this tier 2 and perhaps even more.
The only real chance they have is
Radiant's middle tower
getting a
is under
gank,
attack.
preferably on the Spectre, and they need to land Echo Slam, and they need to land Finger of Death in the fight that follows.
Oh, man, Lion. We're talking about having
Radiant's middle
1,700 gold
tower
about
has
3 or 4
fallen.
minutes ago.
He's not
Basically
progressing.
the same amount of gold now. And that hurts.
I think he lost gold.
Radiant's middle
actually,
tower
about
is
100
under
gold.
attack.
Fortify
This
used.
tower?
Structures are
I'm not sure they're
fortified.
going to get this. Shaker's alive.
They might get the tower, but I think they might back up. I mean, every spell is up essentially for Wings, aside from Razor.
They're confident. They don't care.
Radiant's middle tower has
Pluck could
fallen.
jump on them right now, and Lion could get in and get a Finger of Death kill.
Radiant's middle barracks are
But
under
they're
attack.
too scared to go in.
Yeah, they're way too scared. They're going to give up the melee.
Radiant's
Range
middle
doesn't really matter at this
I
point.
really don't think they needed to give those barracks away. But it's a
If they
difficult
lose that fight,
situation.
then it's GG.
Yeah, then it's over. But at the same time, they need to realize that if they don't take a chance like this, they're not getting another one. So it's like, if they lose another fight now, it's also GG. So why not take it in their base? And with the Vlads, he has about... It's just so far away on that Manta style. It's... He needs to find 5,000 gold, and they're going to be pushing again.
Yeah, I'm also
Spectre almost with Manta now.
questioning the no Manta style. I assume that was just going to be the standard. I mean, that's the standard in general, I feel. Especially against when you go against Ancient Seal, which has been the bane of his existence. But it's not looking good, that's for sure. Spectre, like you said, Manta style now complete, so now he's going to start working on the rest of his heart.
He can solo AM in one stun from Spirit Breaker.
Radiant's
Like if they
top tower
charge
is under
and then
attack.
haunt when the charge hits and he insta pops Manta, AM will die in 2 seconds literally.
Wings with a Desperation Smoke, looking to find the kill onto Spectre, who's level 16 at the moment. They don't have any vision. Now they
You know
do.
what would suck?
Now they're going to see him.
If you cast Haunt now.
That would suck. They don't see him going to the trees. They know he's in the vicinity, but this smoke gank has failed now. That's like the second or third smoke I've seen that nothing has come about it. It's unfortunate for them.
It's a fairly obvious smoke at this point. The mid lane, no one is in that. They have 3 heroes bottom, and Spectre has Haunt anyway, so it doesn't need to risk anything. So it's just going to wait until they get some intel, and now it turns out, yep, they were indeed smoked up here. And now they have to go back, because their bottom lane is going to be pushed, but they don't even have a numbers advantage if they do that, because Spectre can Haunt, so...
Dire's
This is getting
structures are
very, very
fortified.
tricky for Wings. They're trying to put a little bit of pressure to the top tier 1. Glyph used. They're going to blink in the aim as well. They might get it, but it's just very little prize for all the work they've put in.
Dire's top tower has
Tier 2
fallen.
for Tier 1. BKB
Radiant's
now.
bottom tower is
Spirit
under-
Breaker.
Radiant's bottom tower
Oh boy, he's
has
going to be tough to
fallen.
kill. Blade Mail, Treads, BKB, and even BKB on Razor, who's on the other team. Oh, that's a really good pickup, obviously.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Really, at the end of the day, when you're a Razor, you just want to survive as long as possible because you're going to get that damage based on just your skill set alone. Charge of Darkness. Don't think he's going to go balls deep
are
into
under
this.
attack.
Okay, he's goes into the enemy base and then thinks better of it at the last second.
Well, he has BKB, so now he can go for those plays.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Good fissure.
Along with Plasma Field, Ember Spirit. He can be taken down with the right amount of
Wow.
right clicks and
That
whatnot,
is
but
really patient from Blink, not using his BKB there.
just go heal.
It's very scary.
Mystic
Most
Flare
players in
another
that
30
situation,
seconds.
you're sitting there tanking a full
Yeah.
Mystic Flare level 2. If he got haunted on, he would have probably
Calculated.
almost died.
Calculated. Well, but on top of this, the Skywrath
Radiant's
Mage
bottom tower is under attack.
he has a soul booster for God's sake. He's gonna have Bloodstone very shortly. Top lane, Spectre just doing his best to keep these heroes at bay. They're gonna attempt to go on him. Impaled Blink.
Line is going to die to Dispersion alone.
Look at that damage. He doesn't even have to do anything. He's gonna get the kill. Echo Stomp, Echo Slam, I should say. Enough to take him out though. He buys
Radiant's
back,
bottom tower is under attack.
and they're just gonna clean up everybody at this point. The only remaining
Okay.
survivor right now is Anti-Mage.
Okay, so he got
Radiant's
ganked.
middle barracks
He got
has
ganked. He got a kill from getting ganked. He got 2 heroes to half. He buys back, uses Haunt, and gets another 2 kills. That's a farmed Spectre who does that at 29 minutes. And yeah, there was just... The whole early game from Wings just fell apart. They didn't get the AM going. Their supports... They had a couple of good kills early on. It looked like it was going to be a decent Lion game, and then he just never really took off after that. Razor seemed like a non-factor the whole game. Clockwork, their overall first pick, ends up with an astonishing 0.1 fantasy points.
Wow.
At least it was positive.
That's negative, yeah. It's not negative. That's fine.
But yeah, this just did not work out for Wings at all. And I think as far as execution and even individual skill, it just looked like Speed Gaming were the better team in this game. So they're going to be 2-1. And
Yeah, Speed Game is going to be 2-1, and Wings are going to be 1-2.
Yep.
But Wings comes up next against PR. I'm not sure how PR fared in their game. Maybe they're still playing, but they were 0-2. So that's a do or die essentially for both teams, I would say.
it's probably die and die.
Probably, but not mathematically. Actually, I have no idea. Maybe it is. But either way, Wings versus PR is going to be next, followed by EP and HGT, which is the team that has been fared to be the best of this group, which hasn't been the case so far. So we'll see what is to come in future games. But let's see, what time is it right now? It is 11:56.
So in about 30 minutes,
All right, 30 minutes.
depending on the other games, whether they're done on time.
Yeah.
Check them out. Twitch.tv/BeyondTheSummit, Twitch.tv/BeyondTheSummit2, or you can find everything at once under Twitch.tv/team/DAC. Might want to bookmark that. It's going to be running for the entirety of the group stage.
Yeah, it's
so.
only like 50 days of casting. It's all good. All right, we'll be back,
Yeah.
friends. Stay tuned.